So it is official. Diana Rossini, man, she's killing that beat.
She really is.
She brought the heat and brought that report. Thought number one.
Número uno.
It's aligned with C.J. Stroud's contract. C.J. Stroud, rookie contracts are 4 years. Now, if you're a first-round pick, the team has an option for a fifth year. Spoiler alert, it's going to get picked up. C.J. Stroud's going to be under contract for 5 years on his rookie deal, which is cheaper than the extensions that we see quarterbacks getting. Nico Collins, he has 1 year plus the 3. So they're aligned. Mm-hmm. You are aligned in that opportunity to take advantage of quarterback being on his rookie deal. You are doing that with one of his favorite targets, or at least attempting to do that with Nico Collins. So that was the immediate first thought for me. Is the years it kind of plays out perfect,
and I couldn't have said it better. I mean I absolutely think that's at the hub of all my thoughts on this contract.
And it's kind of crazy how they handle puzzles like the zig and the zag with the Texans, because I don't know if teams approach it like this, because I think it's fluid and it just kind of depends on the layout of your roster. But a lot of times I'm sure that you want to invest so much in certain positions. You know, like there's exceptions where maybe you have two awesome corners, so you're paying how much ever for corners or wide receivers. We see what Philadelphia is doing. They're paying Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Mm-hmm. So you're dedicating that much to wide receivers. But if you look at the Texans and you kind of look at how Nick Caserio talks about 2-year plans, on the edge, Danielle Hunter signs a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
How many years does Will Anderson have till he's eligible for an extension? 2 years.
Yep.
Nico Collins signs a 3-year deal. How many years does Tank Dell have left on his rookie deal? He has 3 years, so there'll be 1 year there. Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard, you're paying a lot to tackles right now. What do you randomly do in the second round? You draft a tackle, because a couple years from now you'll be able to get out of one of those contracts and all those will expire. So it is kind of interesting. Maybe it's a coincidence. I would lean towards it not being.
It's not a coincidence.
But I do find it interesting that Nick Caserio kind of likes to juggle and stay on that seesaw and proactively look at these types of things. I think it's a good mindset to have. I think it's healthy. I don't think it's set in stone. I think there could be a time where perhaps if the time comes and it's time to extend Nico Collins and he wants to extend Tank Dell, he'll do that. But it is kind of cool how it seems like he's kind of on that seesaw and he's being kind of proactive.
I think it goes back to what we've said really for a couple of years now, if not longer. He had a vision, and we're not used to general managers knowing, okay, we're a mess right now in 2021, but if we do this, we'll clear up some cap space. If we sign some Jags and get them out of here in a year or two, we'll be able to have room to sign some real free agents if we get a quarterback. He didn't know he was going to get this quarterback that could play at this level, but he had a vision. He had a plan of piece by piece how we're going to get there, and here we are.
Thought number 2.
Número dos.
How does this impact Stephon Diggs? 51 days, by the way, if you're counting, since they've traded for. I still haven't heard from him, but, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
He got his going to do his talking on the field. But how does it impact Stephon Diggs? I never thought Stephon Diggs was a long-term thing. I am amused by the Ross Tuckers of the world, some of these other guys who maybe they shouldn't know better, but you're talking about you traded a second-round pick for Stephon Diggs. No, you made a 3-way trade. They don't make three. Are you even allowed to make 3-way trades in the NFL?
You got me.
I don't think that I've seen one.
Yeah.
But you essentially traded back to pick 42. You gave the Vikings pick 23. They gave you a second-round pick. That second-round pick went to Buffalo. Buffalo gave you Stephon Diggs. So you traded back 19 spots for Stephon Diggs. If there had been a graphic, like NBA-style graphic of a 3-way trade.
How the team was built.
You would have been okay with that 3-way trade.
Yeah.
So I never looked at it, especially once you redid the contract. Am I completely dismissing the possibility of Stephon Diggs being here again? I am not. I'm not dismissing it. But I never looked at Stephon Diggs as more than most likely a 1-year rental. And with the price only being moving back 19 spots, and they made that trade with Minnesota because they were going to trade for Stephon Diggs, I think that's the impact. So the impact for me is moderate, although we don't have to do this imaginary maybe necessary, maybe unnecessary had they not extended Nico Collins. Well, who are they going to decide on when the time comes? I never thought that was really a decision, but we don't even have to play that game.
And he's got no room to say anything. You gave him what he wanted. You gave him a almost $21 million bonus. That's what he wanted. He wanted to be able to be free, after this year, or maybe come back. Nothing to complain about.
You know what?
Nothing to complain about.
And if John Lopez assumes that Stephon Diggs has a problem, you know what?
What?
You know how you eliminate that assumption? You let him go speak. 51 days again. The hell are y'all doing over there? Excited, huh?
Yeah.
Número 3.
It's May. Okay, it's May. Next thought. Nick Caserio told us, man. Mm-hmm. Nick Caserio, unsolicited, NFL Combine, talking about franchise tags and all that. Nick Caserio, unsolicited, he said, "Oh, and I know someone's going to ask me about a Nico Collins extension." He told us that he was open to this. Mm-hmm. He offered up the information. We talk about Nick keeping stuff close to the vest, although I haven't seen him wear a vest in a long time. Mm-hmm. He told us that he was all in on this Nico Collins extension. We talked about it, but he really, really told us.
Yeah, but we didn't know, like, how close they were, or how far apart, I should say, they were, et cetera. So we didn't know it was going to happen, but you knew they wanted to make it happen, and that was the important part.
Next thought here on In the Loop Sports Radio 610 lunchtime. Shout out to the Loopholes. If you listen, you are one. Next one.
Número 4.
Cuatro. There's still some uncertainty when it comes to other guys. Like who is going to get the next contract extension? Is it going to be Christian Harris next year? Is it going to be Derek Stingley? Who knows? But there is a little bit of uncertainty. I think the Stingley is going to be interesting because is one healthy season in a hypothetical world, does that wash away nearly a half decade of unhealthy seasons? Do you want to do that before you have to? Is there some sort of meeting in the middle? That'll be interesting. Christian Harris, if he continues to progress, I could see that being one that they attack immediately, sooner rather than later. But there's still a little bit of work to do for Nick Caserio and company.
Yeah, the Derek Stingley one, I feel, is where they're going to really start to get into that we got to watch the cap territory. Because if he has a big year and they sign him to an enormous contract, because that's what these cornerbacks will get, then you have to have that contract in such a way, bonuses and front loading and all that other stuff, that it's not going to bite into C.J. Stroud's contract whenever you get there.
Number 5.
Final thought. Good for Nico, man, and good for the Texans. This is not whether you thought they should wait or whether you thought that they should get it done. I don't look at this like I looked at the Titus Howard extension. I think this is actually a win-win for both sides. Who knows how much the value would have changed had Nico duplicated what he did last year. But I think they're kind of in the healthy range, and given the situation they're in, which you mentioned with C.J. Stroud, I think that this is, if it was going to get done, I think this is the right way to approach it, and I think they both kind of met in the middle here. I don't look at this as all right, they definitely won this negotiation or this side won it. I think this is good for, and Nico's easy to root for. I mean, you look at how hard he works, last one to leave.
Everyone's the first one to get there and the last one to leave.
But he's really the last one to leave.
Is he?
He is.
You sure?
Yeah, I see it on the practice field every time. Every time we're out there, he's out there. And you saw the body transformation from year 1 to year 2? Mm-hmm. Yeah, lunch pail guy. Now, I know you don't look at him as a lunch pail guy, but that's you.
What's that?
Race car! I think you're thinking more. I think you're thinking more along the lines of like the Rex Burkheads and Danny Amendola's.
Yeah.
But I look at Nico as a lunch pail guy.
Yeah, Charlie Heck.
Yeah.
And John
Weeks.
For sure. The first Caserio pick to get that extension, which is always important as well. So he's getting a little justification there as well.
Andrew Locker, John Lopez, Figgy Fig with you. You said you don't care about the money with Nico Collins.
Why should I? No one's answered that, by the way. Like, why should I care? Well, because of the cap. Okay, I will when the cap comes in play. Like the example being the Derek Stingley contract. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit. We got to worry about the cap because he's going to have probably 4 or 5 years, big time money. It'll overlap with C.J. Stroud's extension when that comes, which we know is coming. But if you look at it right now, yeah, I mean, I hope everybody's smart with their money, including the McNairs. I mean, good for you. Be smart. But in terms of like the salary cap and the football team, it doesn't impact. It doesn't impact my how I watch this team. And putting this team in a bind. This team is not. That's the best way to put it. This team is not in a bind financially, which could impact other signings. It's not.
No, but when you say I don't care about the amount, like, how do you feel about Titus Howard's extension?
Well, but the difference is Titus Howard, and going into that, we were thinking, oh, they're not going to give him an extension, right?
Oh, I was adamant.
Yeah, they're not, because we haven't seen anything.
I was adamant about that.
We hadn't seen anything that would indicate that guy probably is going to get an extension and deserves it. Nico's different. I mean, we were like, okay, maybe they will. Figgy was tweeting yesterday, like, I thought they would. We don't know. I thought they might, because we'd seen 1,000-yard season and with 80 catches, whatever it was, and he deserved an extension, if not sooner, if not later, sooner. But we didn't see that with Titus Howard.
What are you buying if you get the Nico Collins extension? What are you purchasing? You purchasing anything? I mean,
what am I going to splurge on?
I mean, sure.
What is he like?
Pause, man. Good Lord. Sheesh. My God, you might need to dump that.
What's his big? What's his
splurging on things?
What's his big thing? What's his hobby?
Who's Nico's?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know much about him. Football.
Yeah.
I would.
You can't go with the basic.
I'm gonna get a house built.
Yeah, and I don't want to go with the
I was
basic.
gonna say buy his
And
mother a house.
It's gonna be Abe Lincoln style too, where my bedroom is in the top floor and it goes out to a theater room where I'm sitting Abe Lincoln style.
Mm-hmm.
I walk out of the door and I'm right there, Abe Lincoln style, out to the theater room. And there's still seats below me,
You
but
get
I'm
shot
in
in the back of the
presidential
head?
suite. I could. You never know. Depends what kind of party it is. Kind of happens, man. John Lopez, John Wilkes Booth, who knows? Same thing.